how do you expect? Imagine, how do you expect a guy driving at the speed of 70 and checking a map, showing loads, paying 500 or $600? How do you foresee for him to be able to match his logbook, his current delivery schedule with that next one?
Correct.
And imagine if it's driving, imagine if it's raining or if it's snowing outside.
Correct.
How is that gonna happen? I believe we are entering. I believe the trucking industry is just entering the digital era, the technology era. But we have, guys, let's be realistic. We have years and years and years and years to get there. Imagine an average guy, an average owner-operator, a carrier that works for a larger company, just by getting their freight, just by getting access to their freight, he has to pay them, even if you pay 15%, and it's 15% from $350,000 gross a year. It's literally like $50,000-$60,000 that the guy has to give away.
Right.
Believe me, he can bring that money home.
Yes.
And I know some guys that have 2, 3, 4, 5 trucks, and they put drivers to drive those trucks, and they still go out and lease to a bigger carrier.
It's funny you say that.
By having their own operating authority, by maintaining all their liability insurances, trailer interchange insurances, all kind of coverages that are required for this operation. The problem, they still have to pay a big cut of their income to someone. So how would that guy survive?
You as a dispatcher or a carrier, being in the office, you never realize that. You think that, oh well, even though the driver is an owner-operator, he's completely on his own, he works for himself, and yes, every dispatcher says an owner-operator works for himself, but I don't think a lot of them realize that what it means to work for themselves, where nobody takes into consideration that an owner-operator is paying your office $50,000, $60,000 a year.
Imagine that driver is about a couple hundred miles out from his delivery, and the fleet manager has access to his logbook hours.
Mm-hmm.
So both the fleet manager and the driver know that tomorrow 8 a.m. he would be available.
Correct.
And the fleet manager, by accessing that Consolidator network, would be able to tell him, hey John, tomorrow 6 a.m. there is one shipment within 42 miles going from Chicago to Dallas, let's say, paying this much and this much and this much, such and free. There is another shipment that goes at 6:30 or 6:45 or 7 or 8 or 9, and be able to give him a sequence of available shipments. So, so both the carrier plans his daily operations, plans his route, plans his hours, and the broker knows, I have a guy committed to it. This is one of the advantages of the way that we see how this should perform.